So while I'm walking, I think I'll share with you something funny that happened to me the other day when I went to urgent care. I don't know if I've shared that urgent care video with you yet, but I'll be sharing that soon. So I went in to urgent care, Eisenhower Urgent Care, here in Palm Springs. I signed in and filled out all the information, and the woman said, the receptionist or nurse who took all the information said, okay, someone will be with you in a little while. There were quite a few people there already. It was probably 10 o'clock in the morning, and I think there were probably half a dozen to a dozen people there. It was a very big reception area, and a lot of people were there waiting. So I thought, okay, it's probably going to be a half hour or so before anyone's able to see me. Okay, they're doing construction over here, which is going to be loud, so let me walk back the other way so it's not so noisy. I can still get in my steps. You have to be very flexible when you're out on your walk if you're trying to film, because there's always something going on, something noisy or something trying to interfere with whatever you're trying to film. So anyway, I sat down, and within probably 30 seconds, a nurse called my name, and I was like, wow, that was fast. And I thought, well, maybe all the other people that seemed to be here before me, maybe they had issues that were more demanding and they had to wait for a doctor or something. I don't know. I thought it seemed odd that they called me so fast. I had just barely sat down. And so I walk over to the nurse, and she said my name, first and last name, and she looked at me. She was like, and she looked at her chart, and then she looked at me, and then she looked at her chart, and she said, I was calling Steve and then my last name. And I said, yeah, that's me. And she, again, looked very puzzled and confused and looked at her chart again. She said, well, what's your date of birth? And then I told her my date of birth, and she said, oh, no, it's the other Steve with my same last name. I'm like, what do you mean the other Steve? I said, there's another Steve here with my same name. And she goes, yeah, apparently so. And so then she looks behind me, and I turn around, and there's an older guy. I was going to say an old guy, unlike me. And he was probably 10, 20 years older than me. And so, he was really old. I'm in my 70s, so he was in his late 80s or 90s, I think. And I think he was using a walker, and he was going very, very slowly. That's why I got there first, I guess. And she asked him his name, and he said my name. And I was like, oh, hi, Steve, and his last name. And, okay, here's more music and more loud noise. So let me go across the street where it's a little bit quieter. I always forget how noisy it is here in downtown Palm Springs. Even early in the morning, before all the tourists wake up and start milling about, before everyone gets up and everything opens, all the trucks are here delivering food and whatever, and cleaning the streets and doing everything that needs to be done to get it ready for everyone. So anyway, where was I? So I actually meet the other person there in the reception area with my exact name. And I looked at her and I said, well, God, what are the odds of there being two Steves with the same last name at the exact same time here at urgent care? She goes, yeah, it's very, very unusual. And so I was thinking, what are the odds that there's someone with your exact name at urgent care at the exact same time, and the nurse calls your name and you both go up to be checked out? That's the first time that's ever happened to me. Has that happened to you guys? I mean, maybe not at urgent care, maybe somewhere else, where you've actually gone somewhere and where someone calls your name and someone else shows up at the exact same time as you. That was definitely a first for me. And I think it may be a first for her, because she looked very confused and very startled. And I think when she was looking at her chart, whatever he was there for, I guess she realized that probably wasn't an issue I had, because I popped out of my chair and I sort of dashed over to her, and he was using a walker and could barely walk, so maybe he was having issues with mobility, and she was thinking, okay, this doesn't seem like the right Steve. And so, yeah, that was funny, and I just thought I would share that with you, and let us know if you've had that experience yourself with going somewhere and running into your double, or at least someone with your same name. All right, so I'm going to keep walking. I think I'm going to walk over here in the neighborhood where it's a lot quieter. And if I see anything interesting, I'll share it with you. And I guess I'll do that in a separate video anyway. So see you on the next walk, everybody.